Welcome again to another edition of Interview with DJ Nocturna. I am here with one of the founder and instrumentalist. He's also a bass player for Black Rose Burning. I got George Grant. Hi, George.
Hey,
Welcome
how
to
are
the
you? How are
show.
you?
Hello, hello. I know you're in New York. Love New York. Haven't been there in a while, but I want to go back. So many great restaurants there now.
Yeah, right. New York, it went through a decline and it's slowly coming back because of COVID. So,
Mhm.
it's getting back to what it was right before it.
Yeah, I was just looking at this amazing omakase restaurant in New York. Japanese omakase is like it's probably the most expensive, but that's because there's a reason for that because of
Sure.
the quality of the and I mean to me the some of the best like sushi and sashimi are here in Hawaii because we're close to Japan and it's just so many Japanese people here. But
Sure.
for that omakase, I was looking at it on Instagram and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go there just for that. But thank you for joining me. Yeah, I mean, you're one of the artists I interviewed from New York, and I'm always grateful. There's so many wonderful talents coming out of there. Big shout out to Shauna at Seamus Promotion PR, who always does all the
She's
great
great.
stuff.
She's great. She's great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're all talented people, I swear to God, even though some of them are just debut artists, but they're still amazing. And that's
Mhm.
she's got the ear for it, and that's great. But I know you're also a bass player.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this is probably the first time I'm mentioning this, but a lot of the musicians I interview have a background in bass, and that's really interesting. I don't know what it is. It must be on my birth chart that I'm supposed to be connected to the bass in music somehow. Because I interviewed Andy Rourke, who's a bass player,
Mhm.
Peter Hook, who's a bass player,
Yeah, of
um,
course.
David J, who's a
Of
bass
course.
player.
Of course.
More recently, Fred Abong, who's in Belly and Throwing Muses, who's a bass player. John
Mhm.
Fryer, who's a bass player. The legendary Jaw Wobble, who's also a bass player. And I'm like, what is going on with these bass players? And there you are. So thank you for joining me. But let's talk a little bit about your music. Black Rose Burning. So how did that come about? The title, first of all.
Well, it was something that I had kicking around for a long time in my mind. Like I had that image that you see as our
Oh,
logo in
oh
my
yeah, yeah,
mind.
yeah.
And it also comes from when I was younger. I really liked the Thin Lizzy side project of Phil Lynott, the record Black Rose,
Mhm.
because I thought it was kind of unique and unique to him. And so it's kind of a spin-off on that, but I did have the image in my mind for a long, long time.
Yeah. And I know that you're releasing. I think you just are you release. Did you release it already? The third album, Ad Astra.
Yeah, we just released it last Friday.
No, okay, perfect timing then. Yeah, perfect timing. I always try to get everybody somehow coordinated with the release of an album.
Yeah, it's been out a week. It's doing pretty good, I think. A lot of people are very receptive to it, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, yeah, I hear a lot of good stuff about your music. So how did you get into music first of all?
Well, the pivotal point of music for me was when I went to see Kiss live, which was my first concert ever.
Mm.
And when I saw Gene Simmons, I was like, that's what I want to do with the rest of my life. I'm not as fortunate as Gene Simmons, but I would have to say that was definitely the pivotal moment of I was 13 years old, and that was the pivotal moment when I decided I want to play a guitar.
Yeah, one thing about Kiss, right? Besides their great music, is their costumes and their persona that they bring out. I think.
Sure.
I mean, who in the world would ever think, these guys come out with big heels.
It
And
was the whole shebang for me. Like I was like mesmerized, especially by him. He's like still my favorite today. Kiss member.
yeah,
Um, so
and and,
that's really where it started.
and the thing with makeup, right? They wore makeup and long in heels like this high, and they got long hair, but yeah, they had that manly. They still got that manly sexuality, going on, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the thing about the makeup too is like when they ever perform, and I know they still kind of do. They can always put the makeup on. They look just like the past. You don't have to worry about no aging process going on there.
Right, right.
That's one of the things. Yeah, I remember. Well, besides their ballads, I've always liked their what is that song from the 80s that I really like? It's like it was actually popular. But there was some but I played on 80s on my 80s night, actually I think it's 70s. It could be a little bit of 70s and 80s. Um I was made for loving you. Yeah, that's it. I
Oh,
love that one.
yeah, that was their foray into disco.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So it's more of like rock and roll is your background then. You pretty much
Yeah,
like rock and roll.
yeah, definitely rock and roll is my background. I mean, as far as performing music, I haven't played very far outside of that spectrum. Not that that's a bad thing, but when I listen, I'm quite a bit more diverse.
I
But
know,
as
yeah,
far
yeah.
as playing, I'm definitely a rock guy.
Oh, yeah, more of a rock guy. Do you appreciate like since the 70s you're talking about, right? What about like more of like the disco? Do you like that generation,
So-
that era of music?
Some, I mean, besides Kiss and a few other, staple bands for me then, uh, I was way into like, 70s single radio, like 70s AM radio was
Mm.
really big, like listening for me.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I still to this day collect 70s AM radio gold singles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just
Like
just
like
single
R
45.
70s R&B, soul funk kind of thing.
Some.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I actually love that kind of music. I mean, it's wonderful to play it on in a crowd, like that kind of music. It works
Sure.
really well and it's relaxing to me.
Hmm.
I love Motown
I
and
love Motown as well.
yeah,
Stax,
it's
Memphis Shoals. I love all that stuff as well. Greatly. I kind of I guess inherited that from my parents,
oh
who
yeah,
like that was really their thing. And I grew up with all that stuff as a kid. So that has a bit of part of my musical formation as well.
yeah. I think the very first album, growing up as a kid, the very first album I ever owned was an 8-track. I think that's Stevie Wonder's Inner Vision.
Oh, that's a great record.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Stevie Wonder doesn't perform that much anymore, but if he ever did, I would pay a lot of bucks just to watch him because I never seen him. I mean, I just never did. I wish I did. I think he came to
Right.
Hawaii once, long, long time ago, but I was too young and I wasn't living here at the time. But yeah, he's just so one of the talent forever.
Absolutely.
And he had the music that he did back then with Motown and with his former wife Sarita. I mean, she's amazing too. She passed away, but she's amazing. Yeah, I love, I always look forward to meeting people on the show that love the kind of music that I like. Besides goth. Because
Yeah,
goth,
yeah.
I talk about goth too much. I like things outside of goth as well. And one of the things is Motown. Diana Ross was here recently. She came here a few times, I think. Queen of Motown.
Yeah, big Motown talent.
Yeah. And it's really funny. Sisters of Mercy. They did a song called Emma. It was originally by Hot Chocolate.
Oh, I
But they
didn't know
made
that.
yeah,
I,
they
I,
made they made the
I
song amazing.
wow.
I mean,
I didn't know that's where it was based.
yeah, and you know what? What's really funny is that song is dark already. Hot Chocolate's darkest song, I think.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, but so is it, and well, what I understand, you played with Voltaire.
Yeah, I played with
Yeah,
Voltaire for
yeah,
about in his live band for probably about 5 years.
that's good.
And I recorded with him and co-produced quite a few of his records as well.
There's some
Uh,
good stuff there. Human. What is the name of that song? God Thinks. I love that song.
yeah, yeah.
I think that was dedicated to his son, wasn't it? I think. Yeah. God
It-
thinks. God thinks. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then yeah, oh wow, that's great. Voltaire was in Hawaii twice. I brought him down twice.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, he performed at my beauty pageant I had. It's called Miss Vamp Hawaii. And he
Oh,
performed live on stage and yeah, and I know he wants to come back again soon, so I don't know when, but we'll maybe figure it out. But yeah, wow, that's great. I mean,
yeah. He's a great friend. I spent many, 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 and many a late night recording Voltaire. I always liked his stuff. I was around when he very first started, and he's a great friend and a good guy.
I think I made a mistake there. I don't think it's God thing that's dedicated to Sun. I think it was Good Night Demon Slayer.
Good Night, Demon
Yeah,
Slayer.
yeah, yeah. That's
That one I
definitely.
definitely know it is.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, wow, that's great. So which album was that you were in that you helped you were part of the album?
Oh, from the second album to about I'd say the seventh album.
Oh, no,
It
okay,
was
that's a lot. Boohoo and all that.
I recorded him a lot of times.
Wow, that's great. So how did you come up? So why did you decide to do Black Rose Burning? I know you play bass and you also sing now.
Yes. Well, I was in a band that, I wasn't really happy with at the time. I didn't feel that I was extending myself enough. Uh, and I just decided, I'm going to try something on my own. Started writing some songs, and it just kind of steamrolled from there. I played it for some people. They said, "Oh, this is good. We like this," and it gave me a little more encouragement. So then, I just figured, oh, I'll do an album, and then it became two. Now it's three. I got a couple of good friends of mine. I mean, my guitar player, Frank Marin, he used to be in World Inferno Friendship Society, and he was in my last band that I fronted called Serpentines. I drafted him on guitar. I've known him for 25 years. My drummer, Lewis, he was in a band with me called Monster Zero. I've known him for almost 40 years. These are guys that I can depend on and trust, total professionals. And they were like, yeah, we'll do this live. We like it. And this is the first album, Ad Astra, the new one, where I didn't pretty much play everything. These guys came in and I let experts become experts. And it's definitely a new dimension in the songs and the sound. It's more expansive, and it doesn't just rely on me. I'm an okay guitar player. Frank is a master.
Yeah, yeah. But you play great bass for sure, because I know Voltaire will not have anybody that's not a pro, in his team.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And I know this is the third album. So the first one was called The Year of the Scorpion. Are you a Scorpio by any chance?
I am.
Oh, you are. I think so.
Absolutely. You
That's
nailed it on the head. You
that's
nailed it right on the head.
that's where the dark side came from.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. What is it? Tell us about Ad Astra. What is why did you pick that title for the record album title?
Well, if you know me or you know anything about me, I'm like a science fiction freak. I'm the
Okay.
biggest science fiction nerd on the planet. Some people would beg to differ, but I'm telling you, I'm one of the biggest.
Right.
And I'm always intrigued with space. I'm always intrigued with science fiction movies that have space. And I was always intrigued with the phrase ad astra per aspera, to space with difficulty.
Mm.
And I just thought it was a great title, encompassing uh, a lot of the ideas I had for songs about science fiction and space. That's not all I write about, but I do write about it quite a bit because as subject matter, it's probably my very first love.
Yeah. Well, now that we have AI like pretty much taking over everything, what's your opinion on that?
I
With
think
regard.
I think AI will be very useful for a lot of things. I
Mhm,
don't think AI will come to replace artistry, or
mhm,
should it? I think it will enhance artistry in a
mhm.
great many ways. But I think for other things, as it gets better, its calculations get better. Uh, it'll help with a lot of things. Space travel being one of them, I would think.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I totally
But
agree.
you can't artificially replace real human artistry, in my feeling and belief. I mean, there's something comes from inside a human being that's special,
Right.
or inside a living creature that's special. Uh, Something like AI is only calculating its experiences from human beings.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
Maybe at one point, machines will be artificially intelligent, really. It's doubtful because it's only going to be an amalgam of what human beings have already
Yeah.
discovered.
And I think people will resist it in the beginning. Some people might, but I think eventually they'll have to embrace it because you can't do nothing about it. You'll be left
It's
behind if you try to stop it. Because you can't.
The cat is out of the bag, definitely. But
I know.
I'm with people who say they don't want their images replaced in a movie or a film and not be paid for it. Um, there's a lot of consequences for people that I don't think would be so great that they're going to try to use AI for. So I think there should be some definite boundaries set, especially when it comes to artistry and entertainment, on how AI is used and applied.
I think eventually there'll be legal things going on. You know, they're gonna have to figure out how to do this and that because it'll be legally there'll be something will go wrong, so they have to figure
Sure.
that out. I think it's all part of something brand new, right? A lot it's not gonna be perfect.
No, absolutely not.
It's gonna be things, and yeah, but that's great. I mean, I was just looking at one of the songs you I think you did a cover of the Tears for Fears, Shout, which is great.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I'll play it. I actually can play that on the nightclub, I think.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love Tears for Fears, and I just said, hey, I really wanted to cover this song for a long time. And then I got a bunch of friends in different bands, Alex from Hallowed Hearts and Andrew from Hallowed Hearts, James from Ashes Fallen, Michelle from The Long Lost. And we all took turns like singing on it. Brian Viglione from Dresden Dolls played drums. Um, and it just came together like super gracefully and lovely, and I'm very happy with that cover.
Hmm. So, your album I know was you know the latest one at Astra. I know there was a significant person here who was involved in the production of that. Do you want to talk about him?
Jason Corbett is
Yeah.
awesome. I love actors. I love Leathers, which he also produces. I mean, I think the guy is one of post punk, post pop punk. I don't want to call him pop because I think he has the potential to have a pop hit at some point. But he's a gracious guy. He's very nice, and he mastered the record. This is the second one he mastered. He always makes us sound spectacular. Takes that finished product to the next level, and I'm a big fan of his music as well.
Nice.
So that always that always helps when you're working with people who you also enjoy them and enjoy their music.
And you did this in your own studio, right? PV recording company.
Yeah, I did the recording generally in my own studio. My guitar player contributed some tracks from home because he has a studio set up, but I'd say 99% of it was done here at my place.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite track here from the? You have a favorite song that you would pick out of out of the 9 songs?
My favorite song from Ad Astra, I would have to say it's Paraspera, the last song.
Okay, Per Aspera. Okay, I asked that because I'm gonna make sure I play it and it'll be a special one when I put this out.
I mean, I think it's a good ending for the record. The record starts out with Ad Astra, ends with Paraspera, kind
Mhm.
of a little sandwich of other music in between there. And I'm really partial to that song. I'm very happy with that particular song, and in general, as it being my favorite. Um, I like the subject matter. It all around, it's my favorite song on the record.
So you also wrote the lyrics and all that then for the songs.
I wrote the lyrics, I sang, and I played bass on all the material.
Oh, yeah. That's great. It's amazing. Do you have anything coming up in the works?
We'll probably have something, like a new EP or something to freshen up the new year. February, March-ish. We're going to go back on the road in March.
Yeah, I
Um,
see that. Yeah. Well,
my
you
book,
don't you have something coming up? I mean, oh, it's past that already. No, no, not yet. Aren't you going to Tampa, Florida? You have some
yeah,
tours.
we're going to Tampa, Florida on the 6th of October to play Absolution Fest, which is a pretty big festival in Florida. Mark Paradise runs it. We're excited. We're going to be playing with bands like Light Asylum, Night, Wingtips. That whole festival has a lot of good bands happening, and this is our first time in Florida, so I'll be very happy to do that. We're gonna play in Richmond, Virginia, coming up that following week, with Empathy Test. You know,
Mm-hmm.
a few shows coming up, a few shows.
Do you you know, with the bands that influenced you in the past, you know, the different genres of music, you ever thought about doing something similar to that style in a track or two or something like that?
I mean, I think every track I write is like a mixture of
Oh,
like
mm,
styles that I like. You know, like I pointed out to someone the other day, you hear that keyboard line? That's ELP right there. You know what I mean? And they were like, what? They could then it sunk in and they got it. I mean, I incorporate a lot of influences in. And you know, they're subtle. I'm not stealing. It's just like that's what comes to my mind when I think of it. And I say, oh, you know, that would work there. And it just so happens that it's a Tarkus sounding keyboard
yeah.
from ELP. You know, like the sound of it is really what I had in my mind.
Hmm. That's great. So, you know, if people want to check out your music, what is the best way? Let me see, you have a website,
Compre-
blackroseburning.com.
Comprehensively to check out the music, it would be Bandcamp because all the stuff is there. Some of the stuff is not in other places. It was limited edition, or you know, you can't buy it anymore. But all of the stuff is on Bandcamp, and it's listed from A to B to C to Z. And that's probably the best place to listen. If you like something, you can purchase it right there. Bandcamp has been like super helpful, and as a format for sharing music, or you know, exposing people to music. So I use it pretty much exclusively. I mean, it's available on Spotify, it's available on Apple Music and all the traditional streaming services, but I recommend people to Bandcamp because it's so super artist friendly.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, so great. I mean, congratulations on your new album at Astra, just
Thank
recently
you.
released. And I know you got some tours coming up, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more from you down the road. And of course your bandmates as well. Yeah. Okay, well, George Grant,
Yes, ma'am.
Black Rose Burning. So check out his music. Please like, subscribe, and share. blackroseburning.com. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you taking your time.
Oh yeah, of course. One
It
second.
was lovely. It was lovely, lovely.
Lab. One second. Yeah, the Scorpio guy is talking. Okay, here. One second.